How's it going, guys? So today I'm starting a new phase on the 300ZX project. So far I've worked on the interior. I got it looking pretty nice. Still a few things left to do there. Of course, I finished the manual swap. I finished the tune-up. I pulled the engine a little bit apart and got it running good. I drag raced it and it did pretty well. So now that I have the engine happy, I have the interior looking good, it's time to start making the exterior look better. And I'm gonna try something that I've never ever done before. I've never even tried it before. I'm gonna try and paint not all, but some of the exterior of this car. So I'm out here in my backyard with Tumbleweed. I'm sure she's gonna be running around and keeping me company today. I actually had a request from a viewer, Zoe, to show more Tumbleweed, and I'm sure you'll see Tumbleweed running around a lot as I work back here. Now I bought this car with a little bit of rust around the rear hatch, expecting to replace it. And I've actually kind of struggled to find a replacement black two-seater rear hatch. It's kind of a rare find, and it seems like all of them have rust or at the very least like pretty severe paint chipping. So I didn't really end up finding what I was looking for there. But when I bought the car, actually it did come with a spare rear hatch. And I actually almost didn't take it because I figured it'd be easy to find a black rear hatch, and I wouldn't bother trying to like repaint this orange rear hatch that it came with right over there. I'm really glad that I took it though, because even finding like any color good condition rear hatch is kind of a rare find, and they're not very cheap. So I'm gonna attempt to repaint this guy. There's also a handful of spots where the paint, or clear coat I guess I should say, is pretty severely chipping. So I'm gonna attempt to paint all of these pieces myself. It should be a good bit easier than painting an entire car, because these are all small sections and I don't expect much body work to be needed. Pretty much just sand, maybe prime and paint, and I should be good to go. So the first thing, the big piece, is the rear hatch. So I think the first thing I'll start today is working on that guy. So here's our starting point on this thing. It seems to be in pretty good condition. And you know, when I bought this thing, it had no rust and the paint was actually all pretty straight, but it's been sitting for a while. There is some rust showing up, which is a kind of a bummer. But I'm no stranger to rust repair or, you know, welding and all that stuff. I do have a 70s Dodge car after all, so I'd call myself an expert. So I think I'll go ahead and chip off this paint and we'll see what we're dealing with under here. Otherwise, this thing is pretty straight. Also have a couple of stickers, kind of a funny sticker there. I'll be removing that because I actually like Hondas, then we'll figure out what's next. Well, I decided to kind of investigate the rust first, those like little rust bubbles, and kind of rained on my parade pretty quickly there. There is a hole in this hatch here. You can see right through this guy. So it looks like somebody maybe bonded over some of this rust here. And there does seem to be some repairs done here, like fiberglass. I can see some fiberglass peeking out right there. So bummer. I thought that this was a good hatch, and it is not a good hatch. Gosh, I wonder what else is lurking underneath this paint. I don't know, this was a little bit more than I wanted to deal with. Never really done any body work, but I know it's hard to do, especially with black paint. That's like the hardest paint to make look good. So I'm just really I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do the work to get this at the level I want it to be. I don't know. I mean, this is a pretty flat piece, and I do have my old hatch, so it's not totally out of the question that I couldn't just cut this piece out, and if I can take that as a template, put it on my old hatch, and cut out the same piece in the same area. I mean, I guess it will have to be exactly the same area. Basically combine the hatches to make one good hatch. Bummer. That's a big bummer. All right, well, I'll have to ponder that and maybe search for better hatches. Gosh, this is gonna be a very short little section of the video. We'll figure this out. All right, well, it's a new day. So I took a few days and kind of thought about it. And I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and just replace the entire rear hatch. I did manage to locate one. I'm gonna go grab it tonight, and I'm really hoping it looks as good in person as it does in the photos. It is a white hatch. I still have not found a black hatch, unfortunately, so I will have to paint it, but hopefully I won't have to do any major body work and definitely no rust repair. So for today, I think I just want to prep this guy for paint. There's a good bit of sanding to do. I gotta remove a few parts, so let's get to it. All right, I apologize for this thing being so dirty. It's been serving daily driving duties for a while now, and I'm very lazy. Once we get this thing washed, polished, all of the paint finished, I think it's gonna look pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm not gonna paint the entire car. Most of the paint is actually not too bad. The hood is okay. All of the doors and the fenders and all that stuff are good as well. So really what we're looking at is the top of this front fender, which I am gonna tape off right around this line right here, just this section. Let's see here. The A-pillar right here is pretty bad. This top area, both T-tops, this back panel here, this guy, and then the top of the back bumper, just like the front bumper, is all pretty much toasted. Some of this stuff is still okay, so I'll probably try and, save this or polish it. And then, of course, my white hatch as soon as I get that thing. And that should be pretty much it. So I bought my paint supplies at the paint store nearby. Here's what we got. I think like some paint thinner here. Some cleaner, like wax and grease remover type stuff. I got some hardener. And I got 1 quart of factory black paint. I am going with a single stage paint. It was cheaper and it was a little bit easier, and I feel like I can use all the help I can get. I also got this cheap paint gun on Amazon, and my choices were actually kind of limited because I didn't realize that you needed a pretty big air compressor for spraying your car. I thought this would be more than enough, but actually this is like very, very small compared to what people generally use for car painting. So this paint gun is compatible with the CFM of my air compressor here. So that was the main reason why I chose this guy. But I am trying to keep this whole project on a very, very low budget, as I do with all of my projects. So I guess we'll have to see how well this guy works out. I also got a filter set up. This should filter out moisture and dust and all that stuff, especially moisture from the air. So this guy will run, somewhere between the air compressor and the air tube up here. And then I think the idea with this guy is to attach it directly to the gun, just for that last little bit of filtration right before the paint gets sprayed. And that's pretty much it. As far as my research goes, this is pretty much everything you need for a very budget, do-it-yourself sort of paint job in your garage. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. I got a couple of box fans here, and I got a couple of filters as well. So of course I can keep air moving here and filter that out. On the topic of what's gonna be the paint booth, which is the inside of my garage, I got a ton of painter's plastic. So my plan is to pretty much seal off this entire garage with plastic. A little bit like a crime scene or whatever, or I guess like a Dexter kill room, including the roof, even the floor, I think, definitely the walls. I'm just gonna seal this ceiling to floor with plastic and seal off with tape, one of those fans. So hopefully I'll only get good clean air coming in and out of this guy. All right, so that's the setup. Next step is to remove these 2 bumpers. I'm gonna paint as much stuff off the car as I can. So both bumpers will be off, the hatch will be off the car, and both T-tops will be off the car as well. All right, so let's pull those guys off, and we'll start prepping them for paint. All right, got this front bumper off of here, and looking very drift car right now. Got the rear bumper off as well. The rear bumper was much, much easier, I will say. So that's pretty much it for pulling parts off this thing. I think I will take the T-tops off to paint them, but otherwise nothing else is removable. So I'm just gonna leave everything as is and, you know, mask off the best I can and then paint it as it stands. All right, well, some good news. I got a new hatch. As you can see, it's very white. It's in very good condition. There was some sort of like dent repair done here, but it all looks pretty good to me. A little bit of sanding probably needed here in the transition, but otherwise I feel okay about this guy. And there's also just the tiniest little paint chip here, but otherwise this thing is like pretty much perfect. I mean, the paint's actually quite nice still, so actually it's kind of a shame to sand this guy down. I do want to take off these weather strip, you know, whatever rubber or what used to be rubber is now kind of like a harder material, but I do want to take these off first. Of course, take off any sort of like, you know, this back thing, which unfortunately is broken. And then we'll start sanding this guy down and we'll try and get the clear coat off of this thing. All right, I got all of this stuff peeled out of here, more or less. And man, I was really hoping this would all come out in one piece, but no dice, unfortunately. All right, so I guess I'll just pull this guy off. That should come off pretty easily, and we'll go ahead and start sanding this guy. All right, whew, I got kind of on a roll here and got a whole bunch of stuff done. Pulled this fender off and I sanded down this A-pillar. I started on this top part here and I got the hatch pulled off as well. So I'm just about done with sanding. I just need to finish this guy. Need to do these two pieces and I do need to hit the T-tops as well. Then we should be getting pretty close to like a final cleanup and maybe some primer where it needs it. And then after that, some paint. All right, I got this thing sanded down pretty good. Everything feels very smooth. I was told by the guy that I bought the paint from at the paint supply store that I can paint right over the base coat, and he did tell me to sand off the clear coat. I'm pretty sure that I sanded off most of it, or I sanded until my sandpaper started turning black, so I'm pretty sure I got to the base coat, but this is all kind of like a test for me. You know, obviously you can go further and further into this and take it down to metal and then reprime it and all that stuff, but it's kind of not what I'm going for. It's kind of not the level I'm going for on this one. I'm just kind of trying to do like a garage job. It's famous last words, I know, but I think this is going to turn out okay. I guess we'll have to see, but the type of sandpaper here that he set me up with at the store was this 600 grit. And he also gave me some 800 grit. I found that to be way too fine to really get into the clear coat. So I went ahead and grabbed a sheet of my, I think like 300, and this really cut through the clear coat. And I know that that's probably gonna leave scratches in there. So I went over it again with the 600 just to go ahead and smooth out the coarser stuff scratches. So I hope that's okay. I guess we'll find out. But that's it. That's all of the sanding. I've got the two hatches done. There's the other one over there. And let's check out these bumpers. Bumpers look pretty good. There are a few spots here I want to do a primer, which is a fill primer, so I can get rid of some of these cracks or grooves right there. Anywhere that the like tan plastic is showing through, I definitely want to hit. And then this guy is pretty much flat and looking good as well. So I guess the next step would be to maybe clean some of this stuff off. I'll probably just hit it with the garden hose, finish masking off these guys, start cleaning it with the wax and grease remover, and then start priming these few spots.